In this film, I aim to show you how a ruptured brain aneurysm affected me, what I remember from that day, to how I am now, nearly 7 months on. January the 8th, 2014, started like a normal day for me. Went up to help my mum muck out the horses, put them out in the field. And then I went off to uni. I had my morning lectures. We broke late for lunch that day. And we decided to go straight out for a cigarette before we had lunch. So I quickly grabbed a coffee and took that out to the smoking area. I remember we was having a conversation about giving up smoking, and we were laughing and joking about when we would give up. I started to feel a bit dizzy. I recall Matt saying, "Julia, is this one of your turns? I have dizzy spells." Unrelated to the aneurysm. Next thing I know, I had this burning sensation in my head, and it just felt like somebody was just stabbing knives into my head. It was just continuous stabbing. And next thing I recall was I had my left side went into some kind of seizure. My arm, I kept saying, "Look at my arm," and it was just trembling, just non-stop. I could hear myself slurring my words, and I just remember trying to lift my mouth up because I thought that would stop me slurring. And then I lost my vision. The pain was still there, the pain was horrendous. The headache. And I couldn't stand the light. The light hurt my eyes a lot. So I next recall Matt saying to Claire to dial 999 and that he was off to get help. I can't remember him leaving me, but he must have done, because then I heard other people around me, but I didn't know who was there. I just had no vision at all. Then I heard a man introduce himself, and I briefly looked up and I saw an ambulance car. And I recall a man with black hair. He did introduce himself, but I can't remember what his name was, who he was. Kept asking lots of questions, like who was the Prime Minister, what day was it, what was my name. He just kept repeating that. He just kept asking me all the time. And then I heard him say, "Julia, I need to take you to hospital. Just listen for the sirens. Can you hear the sirens?" And I just kept repeating that over and over again. I couldn't hear anything at first. And then I heard the sirens. They were a long way off, but I heard them. They said, "This is it. This ambulance is for you, Julia." I don't remember getting in the ambulance. I don't remember the ambulance turning up. But I next recall I was in hospital, and it felt like I was in this huge bubble. It was just, everyone was around me talking, but I could hardly hear them. And I looked up and I saw my mum. She was crying. She was crying so much. I recall saying I just looked up and said, "Stop crying, Mum, I'm going to be okay. It's all going to be okay," which made her cry even more. Remember them saying to me that I had to change hospitals. I had to have an operation on my brain. My mum said that she would take care of the girls, my daughters. I have twin daughters, aged 13, and she said to me, what do I tell them? What do I tell them? So I said, just tell them Mummy's got a bad headache and that I've had to go to hospital. My mum knows I don't ever lie to my children, but I didn't know what was happening, but I knew my head hurt. So until I knew what was happening, that's all I could tell them. I knew my mum would tell them the truth as soon as she knew I was safe. She would tell them the truth, because that's how I live with my children, honesty. I remember the ambulance crew arriving to take me to Bristol, and I just looked at this man and I giggled to my mum, and I said, "Mum, I'll be okay. I know him. I used to serve in the Navy with him. He was an aircraft mechanic, the same as me. And here he was, being the guy who sat in the back of the ambulance with me on the way to Frenchay. But I felt safe, knowing that I was with him. That helped knowing him, I think. I don't remember the journey up to Frenchay. In fact, I don't remember the next 3 weeks. It's a long time to forget. I still don't remember. I think the first recall of Frenchay I had, I was in the low dependency ward, and that was right at the end of January. And I remember the children coming in. They got told off for laying on my bed, giving me a hug. I didn't make them get off. I remember the first time that they tried to get me out of bed. My legs collapsed underneath me. The pain was just really, really bad. They said it was because I had a lot of blood and fluid pressing down on my spinal column, my spinal cord, and that was causing the pain and the spasms that I was having every day. The spasms were really bad, not only just for me, but for my family to watch. The pain was just excruciating. It was so painful. I remember the children used to massage my back for me. But I remember, well, the night I got brought in, I remember one of my sisters, she was rubbing my back to take the pain away. Just remembered that. It's when they first came up. It's that night when they first came up. So I saw my family one by one. It was. They just turned up. And I don't know, it's like they were saying goodbye to me. Didn't want to say goodbye. I wasn't ready to go. My children weren't there, you see. My memory comes back at silly times, funny times. You never know, maybe I'll get those 3 weeks back that I've lost. My mum says I don't need them. I don't need to remember. It wasn't very nice. But I think for me, it's something that maybe I do need to know to be able to move forward. I got put down to low dependency unit. It was at the end of January, and some of my kids came to see me. They saw me beforehand, but I couldn't remember that. But I remember them seeing me in the low dependency unit. Coping with a ruptured brain aneurysm is one thing, but learning that you have 2 brain aneurysms was a big deal, and that's what I found out. I had 1 rupture and 1 unruptured. The one that ruptured was on my right side of my brain, and the unruptured is on the left, and it still is on the left. They couldn't operate because of my heart, and so they had to stop after the first coiling, and they didn't finish the rest of the coiling. So today, at the moment, I'm sitting here talking to you, knowing that I've got a brain aneurysm, but it will be operated on. I've chosen elective surgery. Hopefully the middle of August, I should have this one coiled. Got transferred back to Yeovil Hospital briefly before I got discharged back home. And I still have physio when I need it at home. I'm having to have some adaptations done to my house to enable me to be able to have a shower by myself without the help of my children or a carer. How's everyday life changed for me? It's changed a lot. I have a lot of short-term memory loss now. I deal with it by having lots of different strategies put in place, and my main one is being my phone. My phone is my lifeline. Has all my contact details in there, my hospital appointments, shopping lists, any reminder. I take 41 tablets a day for my other, and I suffer from lupus, and have a lot of issues regarding that. But since my aneurysm, I take a lot more pain medication, mainly to keep the headaches away. And I have an alarm go off every 4 hours on this phone to tell me to take my medication. And even then, sometimes I do forget. It's like, oh yes, I'll go and get my tablets, and then I'll forget that I was going to go and get my tablets. So I have to take them late then. Also, I write everything down. Sort of, it goes in my phone, then it goes in my diary, and my calendar, and my best friend now is post-it notes. Sort of stick them everywhere. Or, you know, if it's something that the children have got to do, or I've got to do, hospital appointments. All my medical stuff I keep in my bag. It's a file, and in this file it'll have everything from Bristol Hospital, which states that I've still got another aneurysm. So if anything does happen to me, these are in my handbag, and they'll stay there until I know that I'm safe and I no longer need them. I've progressed to a walking stick now. At first I was in a wheelchair, and then progressed to a frame from there, to crutches, and now I have a stick. I lose my balance on a daily basis. So my stick comes in handy. It's not easy living with a brain aneurysm. There's times that you just want to scream. I remember it was about 2 weeks after I got discharged from hospital. I was at home, and I'd put the children to bed, and suddenly it just hit me like a 20-ton truck, just bang. I nearly died. I could have died. I should have died, but I didn't. And that was a hard realization. And I cried hard, and I cried all night. I didn't sleep. But that was the first time it hit me that I was very, very lucky to be alive. I grieve for the part of my memory that I've lost. And I still cry today. Not as hard as that time. I get frustrated as well, really easy. I never used to get frustrated as quick as what I do now. Sometimes to the point that I get really angry. Before I could have a conversation with somebody and I could take it in, and even if other people were talking around me, that was fine. Where now I have to listen, then de-scramble in my head what that person's saying to be able to understand it. It's not as straightforward as before. And if someone interrupts, I could blow like a pressure cooker. And that's not me. And I don't want to be that person. I don't know whether that will change. I don't know whether I'll go back to the old me. It's like losing somebody. It's like death. That's how it feels. I've never looked at it as death before, but yeah. It's like the old me's gone and there's this new person. I've still got the same life as I had before, but things have changed. I've changed. The children know when to give me a hug. It's usually when I start throwing things around, like my phone on my desk. Or I just go really quiet, and they know. That's the biggest sort of thing to come out of this is I think my children have had to grow up really quickly. And yes, they resent it sometimes, which I don't blame them. I wish they didn't have to grow up, but they did. I hope, if anything, this video has shown you that it's not easy living with this as a person that it's happened to, and I hope it gives an understanding to you that how the person can be feeling inside. They're not angry at you, they're angry with themselves, what they've become. Even if this video helps one person, one family understand, then I'm happy. So, thank you for watching, and goodbye. Until the next time.